たちの義務教育も終わろうとしていた。
一体何なんですか？
この国はバトルロワイヤル。そこで今日は皆さんにちょっと殺し合いをしてもらいます。最後の一人になるまでです。
ではこれからお姉さんがルールについて説明します。
This week, we're reviewing the film Battle Royale from the year 2000. This was the final film directed by Kinji Fukasaku, the legendary Japanese director behind the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. Fukasaku wrote and directed over 60 films between 1961 and 2003. He passed away while working on the sequel to Battle Royale, which was then finished by his son, Kenta Fukasaku. Fukasaku. Isn't that what you used to do in high school? Fukasaku?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Actually, what I want to know is how did you hear about this?
I heard about this. I believe I saw this probably like 15 years ago when it first came out on DVD in America.
Oh, so you didn't like...
I probably didn't hear about it until like the 2010s.
Okay. So when they got the international rights to put it here.
Yeah, because this movie had a lot of controversy and banning, but we'll get into that.
Okay, I was about to say, are you sure? Because the stuff now is...
It doesn't seem that wild 25 years later.
But also maybe because we don't live in Japan, their culture, maybe to them that's like super...
A little bit more taboo in Japanese culture, the murder of children.
Yeah, or...
It's not taboo anywhere.
Murdering each other, right?
Battle Royale follows a group of junior high school students who are forced to fight to the death by a Japanese totalitarian government. So it's essentially a teenage melodrama blended together with a violent action film. And that's what makes it unique. All these like junior high students have crushes and rivalries and, you know, some very dark backstories, and all of that's kind of on top of the real life or death drama that the deathmatch kind of brings. So Battle Royale was theatrically released in Japan on December 16th of the year 2000 with an R15 plus rating, which is rarely used in Japan. The film drew controversy and was banned or excluded from distribution in several countries. The production company Toei, is that how you pronounce it?
They do like all the anime.
That's a huge company,
They're a huge
right?
studio, yeah.
But is that how you pronounce it, Toe?
I don't even know. I don't even bother.
Eric, you're supposed to be our official Asian correspondent.
I'm great. I'm grateful for that.
You're supposed to be here to make sure I pronounce things properly.
If I was Japanese, I would totally...
Yeah.
I would totally do that.
However he pronounces, Toe refused to sell the film to any United States distributor for over a decade due to concerns about potential controversy and lawsuits.
What?
So until Anchor Bay eventually acquired this film in 2010, you couldn't see it in the States. It is violent, but upon rewatching Battle Royale, it doesn't really feel like all the controversy is warranted. All of the bans and controversy probably hurt this movie when it first was released theatrically, like financially. But then, you know, years later, all those bans and controversy probably helped this movie kind of become the cult classic that it is.
So you think it's...
So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah. The samurai genre. Kurosawa and stuff. Bro. And then like...
Do you think it's just because the characters are so young in this? It's like kids killing each other. That's what made it so sensitive.
So then why did they make the manga? Why did they release the manga?
I don't know.
You know, that it was the manga before
I'm just trying to figure out like what's the difference between a Kurosawa movie and this? Why is this so controversial?
If it's just a kids thing, I can understand. And I guess the saying goes, right? Like monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. So if kids see that, then they think, oh, cool. Maybe it's okay.
Which there was a controversy with this movie where there was a stabbing. And I guess the kid who did the stabbing had the Battle Royale manga. So it was kind of similar to the way like, you know, like they'll blame a movie for violence in America.
Right.
They're doing the same kind of stupid shit in Japan.
So they were woke before we were woke?
I guess so. I think this movie's kind of tame if you compare it to something like Cannibal Holocaust. It's still a great flick.
I've seen that. I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. It's pretty harsh.
Okay.
Yeah. Battle Royale is definitely a recommendation for me. I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's also like a great early 2000s nostalgia film with like the 3D titles and the manga influence and like the reality TV angle. It's very early 2000s.
ルールについて説明します。よく聞いて正しく元気に戦ってくださいね。今皆さんが来ている場所はこんな形をした無人島です。
I really like this movie. It's a great ensemble cast with really good character development. I wish the futuristic reality show aspect of the whole thing was explored a little more. The legendary director of Battle Royale, Kinji Fukasaku, died during the production of the sequel, Battle Royale 2. Production was then taken over by his son, Kenta Fukasaku, and that film is much less novel and interesting. I haven't really kept up with Kenta's work, but this might be an instance of nepotism not really paying off. So I say go watch Battle Royale, and you could probably skip Battle Royale 2. Both films are available on disc and also are free to watch on Tubi. The original Battle Royale is dubbed on Tubi, and the dub is not great. I would have much rather watched this with subtitles, but still enjoyed it.
I think it's a fun watch. I think for sure everyone should watch it. You'll get something out of it. Everyone gets something different out of this whenever I show it to people. And I always tell them, man, this is like the precursor to like Hunger Games and everything else. You can't tell me anything different. But yeah, as far as the movie goes, I'm surprised. Like when people say it's a global phenomenon, like who else did you know? Was that introduced to you by somebody else, or was that you just found it?
I might have been introduced to it by someone. It was like one of those things where, I was always interested in like cult movies and underground movies and countercultural stuff, and like you hear about shit like that. You hear about Street Trash, you hear about Battle Royale, you hear about The Toxic Avenger. These are the big cult films, especially, 15 years ago. Now there's a whole slate of new exploitation crap. Terrifier.
That was weird.
Terrifier sucks. I love the scene where the teacher shows them the Battle Royale instructional video with the Japanese woman, the very enthusiastic Japanese woman with the headset.
Hi.
Yeah. And the Battle Royale website is behind her, and this was so long ago they still have the HTTP //.
Have you tried to go on that website?
No, I haven't tried to go on the website.
After this, we should try to see
it. Probably does still exist, battleroyale.com. But like, dude, that Japanese chick is hot. Japanese women really had it going on in the early 2000s because this was before like big asses were in fashion.
Yeah.
And this was before the yen had crashed. So like, Japanese women were at the top of the world when this was made. And that little video of the instructional video, it feels like a PlayStation keynote or something.
Yes.
Another great scene is when the boy tries to convince Takako, the character played by Chiaka Kuriyama, to have sex with him, and instead she stabs him in the dick.
That was crazy. I was like, oh,
He basically tries to like rape her with a crossbow.
Yeah. I remember.
And she completely turns the tables on him and ends up stabbing him in the crotch. Which is hilarious. She's great. Her performance is great in this film, and you could see why Quentin Tarantino would see this and want to cast her in something.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't have to, stand on his face as part of the audition process.
I don't think he's part of that thing that, his previous boss.
I hope Quentin Tarantino isn't a creep. I know he loves feet, but hopefully he keeps it on the level.
I don't think he is.
It's definitely like no surprise when you see that he really loves Uma Thurman, then you see her big goofy feet. You're like, oh yeah, he's got a type.
Oh my Lord, that's crazy.
A lot of the young cast members in this movie went on to do more movies aside from Chiako Kuriyama.
Yeah.
So, and also I guess the teacher guy, right? He was a big comedy figure in Japan.
And then he started playing mobster roles, like Japanese Yakuza roles.
He does have like a gravitas to him. Like you could see him as like a Yakuza boss or something.
Yeah. He's he was probably the only one that was probably the most expensive person.
Yeah. He's the name that sells the movie, basically.
Yeah. And then the same thing with the second one. They try to use that guy. That guy was coming up too. He's also in a lot of gangster flicks.
Okay.
Both of them are in a lot of gangster flicks. So just one's more stoic, and the other one's just outlandish, right? Like his character, he's super wild.
Another favorite scene of mine in the original Battle Royale is when there's that little standoff where the girl tries to poison the boy who she sees kill a girl, and then the girl accidentally drinks the soup and starts fucking, dies. And there's that weird like standoff. That's a great scene. Again, taking the teenage melodrama and then blending it with like real movie violence is interesting.
Do you think that's how they would really react, like in real life? Because I know it's like
I don't know how kids would react if you put them in a deathmatch situation.
So you think that's like the closest?
I mean, I guess we could just watch a high school in America and see how that would play out.
The other thing too I loved about this, it's not. There's another thing which was like You know, when they get their bags.
Yeah.
And everyone got random shit.
Yeah. And some people get like good weapons, like a gun or something, and some people get like
pots and lids.
Yeah. Well, one girl got poison, which is strategic but kind of hard to use offensively.
Yeah, some of those weapons you really had to be close quarters and like really like plan it out.
Yeah, the weapon selection is huge. Like if you get a gun or something, man, it really puts you on top of the heap.
I would say I thought it was the coolest movie, at my age when I was, but a lot of the girls that I showed it to, like, oh, this is so horrible. Like, why would you make me watch this?
Yeah, sure.
I was like, well, one, we're on a date. Two, like, why not?
You show them the scene where the kid tries to rape the girl with the crossbow, and you're like, this is what's happening next. I'm just trying to get you ready for the rest of the night.
That'd be so funny. Do you see what's happening?
Yeah.
But it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I think if everyone watches it, it'll be very entertaining. There's no way you're not entertained by this.
Yeah, I think this is one that we can definitely recommend. At least the original Battle Royale.
Yeah,
and it's free on Tubi, so there's little to no expense if you want to go see this one.
You just have to figure out how to get past. You're gonna be like dumbfounded because they don't really explain the whole this act. It's very briefly explained.
The whole thing's kind of set up with the instructional video, and that kind of establishes the exploding collars. And
that's like the third time I said that because that's a big problem. I had to read the manga to understand what was really happening.
Okay.
And the instructional video doesn't. They just explain the rules of the game. They don't. There's no information on how it became this way.
Okay.
So if someone wanted to redo this movie, they should probably do the movie with the very first BR act, like the very first. As a prequel, so that they can do the backstory and make it.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does try to make a prequel or something.
Shit, I'll do it. Like
dude, I think it would have been a good idea is to have all the delinquent students sent to fight instead of just a random class. But then I guess you lose out on all of the minutia of just having average students.
Yeah,
it would just be more hardened students, which would also be interesting.
That could probably be a good one for the first prequel.
Yeah.
We're rounding up all the fuck ups.
Yeah.
And you go and that'd probably be way more violent, but the fact that it's average students makes it way more violent. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Well, there is also you could choose to join the game if you want. So there's some kids who aren't in the class. There's the anti-hero character who's wearing all black, who's
Yeah.
A little bit more of a wild card.
I would say the weapon use is the knives, all that
stuff.
What
weapon would you want if you were going to be fucking thrown into deathmatch? Gun?
That's yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
I just don't want to deal with anybody.
Yeah.
That's the worst, to get the megaphone and then call that guy over. And then
I guess the gun, though, you have to wonder how many bullets you have and how limited you are as far as ammunition.
And you know what? A clip only has... And they're not going to give you an extended clip. So,
not in Japan where they're fucking probably illegal.
So you have 40 students? Was it 40 or 35?
I forget.
But there's a lot of kids, you only have 7 bullets.
Yeah, you got to use that
8
wisely.
bullets, and you got to do headshots.
You got to hide and wait till there's 10 left and go after the
motherfucker. You got to channel your fucking inner John Wick.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Or shoot somebody and take their weapon so you have another weapon.
I'm surprised no one's in America has took this concept and done it.
Oh no!
The acts, just.
There's been a lot of movies that are kind of similar to this. It's not.
I'm sorry. I'm really.
You mean in real life?
Yeah, I'm really no. In a movie, someone like a studio or Martin Scorsese, he loves to steal stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised he hasn't took this and just made it his own.
Yeah.
Because if I can get a 7-picture development deal, that's one of the stories I'll do. Yo, you gotta buy the rights to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Let's do and then I would make it in a way where the kids, because America's so diverse, and I love that, and just putting, it's gonna look fucked up, but it'd be putting all.
Well, you do Battle Royale in 2025. What, half the kids are trans?
No. I definitely make it kind of like the movie The Warriors, where they're just
you do Battle Royale in 2025, and the scene where the kid gets stabbed in the crotch is just him transitioning.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. You just put that on the bottom.
Yeah.
Transition complete.
It's just a typical scene from an American high school now.
But yeah, I would make it. But would you, if you were to make it, would you want it to be multi-ethnical cast here made in America, or would you want to go to Japan and shoot it in Japan?
I mean, if I was going to make it, I'd want to probably make an English version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of a futuristic dystopian Japan is also interesting. Like, there's definitely somewhere you can go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it's going to be remade for an American audience, of course, it's going to be English language.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't necessarily have a problem with the Japanese version of it.
Have you seen that Korean movie? I think it's called Old Dog or Old
Boy?
Old Boy, yeah.
I believe I've seen the original. I haven't seen the remake.
So, okay. So that's how you'd see it play out is like
I know.
someone like Spike
Old
Lee.
Boy, yeah, it's a fucked up movie.
That was a really fucked up movie.
Yeah.
But like you'd see that Spike Lee did that, and then like you'd be like, okay, that's
Spike
fine.
Lee is continuing to take Asian cinema and fucking destroy it. I don't know why he wants to do that.
Yeah, the Vietnam experience his family had. I don't know.
He has a Vietnam experience?
No, I'm just saying that.
He's too young to go to Vietnam.
No, like
his dad was a musician. I doubt his dad went to fucking Vietnam.
I don't think he cares to fucking do that stuff anymore. Like, some of the music videos that I saw when I was younger for hip hop, like the guys like Hype Williams and people like that.
Yeah.
Some of them went on to make movies, like Constantine, the guy that made directed Constantine. He was
Didn't Hype Williams do Belly?
Yeah, but I think, damn, I lost my train of thought on that one. But I think the reason why a lot of those directors don't become like movie directors is because, I'll be honest, I shot a thing for a nonprofit for the military.
Yeah.
And the pay was way better.
Okay.
Less stress.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'll only put it this way. The pay was a point to where like, if I didn't buy anything, any, like new equipment or anything like that, I'm okay for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? But that's not me. I'm going to go buy equipment. So,
yeah.
And you don't get that with in narrative movies. Like I don't want, you and me will talk on the side. I'll tell you exactly the structured deal that Warner Brothers has set up for me.
Okay.
It's not good at all. Like whatsoever.
Yeah.
The first movie, after that, it depends on how it does. Then we negotiate again.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for every single person that's a first time. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyone that's experienced and can
have to
show that
prove
they've
yourself.
made money, then they have a different negotiating conversation.
Okay.
So, but I would definitely try to remake this. This would be one of my 7, a slate of ideas. This would be one of my 7.
Okay.
Next to Warriors. Oh my God, I'd knock that shit out the park.
Which is, it's not so different. I guess Warriors is more about like gangs and stuff. This is more about the individuals fighting for themselves.
Yeah. Right now, like society deems that football is kind of dying. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, you think football's dying?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like dying.
I think it's pretty popular. It's probably more popular than ever. I think baseball is the one that's dying.
Around the world it's popular, but here in America it's not. But I feel like football is not as strong as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because all the concussion talks and all that stuff.
Okay, all the CTE shit.
I see a crazy amount of like dojos opening up for some reason.
Dojos like
jiu-jitsu, karate, Muay Thai.
MMA is a huge sport now with UFC.
And that'd be perfect. Have each gang have a specific style of fighting.
Now you're just remaking Bloodsport.
We talked about that one. Yeah.
Just combine Bloodsport and Battle Royale. That'd be a great movie.
But overall, it's interesting. Like their acting styles too, way different than Americans.
Okay.
The Japanese, like
very expressive. It's like very much Japanese acting is very much influenced by like their art and manga and things, and like I guess probably going back to like Japanese woodcuts and like the expressions and stuff, and maybe even a little bit of kabuki. The way kabuki is so broad.
I didn't think about that. Do you think that they had seen Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton?
Absolutely, and I bet you. Not only, I mean, I'm sure that stuff went over there because it was on film and you could go over there, but also there was probably, vaudeville, and there was probably theater arts in Japan that predate film that is also, a good kind of a, going back to see how the art form evolved over the years. If you go back to Japanese theater, that's probably somewhat of an influence on Japanese filmmaking and whatnot.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like in the second one, the main character, Narahara, like I didn't understand why he was shaking all the time.
Okay.
You know, and then like you get that look, you know, and I'm like, I get it, you're stressed, you know, like, but like, dude.
The character development's just not very good in the second one. They don't really sell these characters as well as they are able to do it in the first one. And you don't have a lot of time because it's a lot of characters. It's an ensemble cast. It really takes a good director to pull that off.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, that was Kinji.
Yeah. And the first one, you know, it's kind of, it's exactly like Squid Games. They just figure out how to kill a lot of people off in the first game or first sequence.
And the whole thing is framed by the tally count and people dying. That's really like the structure of the movie.
The second one didn't make sense because once they got the collars off, you didn't need to, because there's the president of Japan or prime minister of Japan was like, oh, our allies across the world want to end this, so we're gonna bomb the shit out of them. Go in there and kill them before that. So as they started listing off like the students that were dying, I was like, they don't need to anymore.
Yeah.
Like the collars are off. Like it just that whole story bit didn't make sense more.
Yeah, I was just having trouble engaging with the second one. Just, you don't care about any of the characters. It just doesn't really pull you in.
It's a money grab, like I remember like the premiere, they were selling the uniforms, the pins and all that kind of stuff. They were like, before we got good at it, I would say their Japanese are really good at selling stuff, especially when it's like
marketing, when
it's good looking or when it's cute. I don't know, like, the girl I'm seeing now, it's like, it's always cute stuff. Always cute stuff, I guess where most of the cute stuff that she likes is
why
from.
should she date you?
Because I'm handsome.
I'm just fucking with you.
I mean, you got to ask her. Like, she can choose any other guy, but she's like, I'll stick with you.
All right. You got anything else to say about Battle Royale, Eric?
I feel like you need to go watch it, enjoy it, and if you like the first one, go watch the second one, and you have a better comparison.
There you go. And, maybe we'll have to bring on some more Kinji Fukasaku films in the future.
I would like to do a Kurosawa movie.
Okay, I love you. 愛上了你，請你莫逃避，維護你，原諒你，拋開貪親怕死，一切為咗你。